Hey guys, how's it going? Sonora here. We're going to talk about the vision boards again. So today we're going to talk about how do you even figure out what it is that you want to put on the vision board. So, for example, I thought about doing a vision board about a month ago, and I literally stared at my page thinking, I have absolutely no idea what I want to put on this. So that could mean one of two things. A, you either have what you want already, or B, you have no idea what it is you want. So if you don't know what you want, the only way to figure that out really is to know what you don't want, right? So we've gone through our life and figured out all of the things that we don't want, right? We've all had bad relationships. We've all had apartments we didn't like. We've all had, I don't even know. Let me think. What else could you have that you didn't like? We've all maybe tried career jobs that we didn't like. I know I drove a school bus for a long time. It was fun for what lasted, but not what I want to do the rest of my life. I was a computer developer for 25 years. That served me well. And then I decided, nope, that's not what I want either. So a lot of times, in order to figure out what it is you do want, you got to figure out what you don't want. And if you've ever listened to any law of attraction CDs, I guess, or seen any YouTubes on law of attraction with Abraham Hicks, she's always talking about the contrast, right? Contrast of what you want versus what you don't want. So we talk about this contrast, and that's how we kind of narrow down what it is we want. So let me give you an example. When I got done with computer programming, I wasn't sure where I wanted to go beyond that, right? COVID hit, and I had all this time with which to decide what it is you want. You know, they ask you this question all the time. If time and money wasn't an issue, what would you do, right? Which is a very big question. It's a very difficult question to answer. And, you know, when you're faced with a question that big, you can't narrow it down. It's like looking at the Cheesecake Factory menu. It's just too big. There's just too many options. So with COVID, I was actually presented with that exact question in real time, if that makes sense. So I was getting unemployment. So money was an issue. I had all the time in the world. And I remember thinking, I didn't even know what day it was half the time. Didn't even know what time it was. Didn't need a clock. Didn't need a calendar. It was actually really a good time for me. And it was then that I realized I can actually decide what it is I want. So I tried a bunch of different things. Right. I started going to one of the local spiritual community shops, and I learned Reiki, and I liked that. But I'm like, okay, well that's good. Kind of like that. Let me see. And then I went to vibrational sound therapy and kind of like that. And then I thought, no, it's still not quite exact to what I want, right? I have this idea in my head that I couldn't articulate of how I wanted to help people. And it needed to have all these different parts and pieces, but I didn't know what they were. So everything I tried was missing something, right? I had the Reiki energy, and I'm like, nah, it's missing something. So I combined it with the vibrational sound therapy. I'm like, nope, still missing something. And then I learned about shadow work, which is in fact a legitimate thing, guys. It's literally trauma work, inner child work, shadow work. It's all the same thing. Um, and I started working with that with I did more academic level, and I thought, well, that's good too, but it's still not complete, right? And I'm not entirely sure that I've defined that, right? And I've been on this journey for a couple of years, and so I keep trying things. And as I try them, I decide, okay, I take what I want, what I like about it, and then I leave the rest and move on. And I'm kind of creating this vision board of a career for myself, if you will. And I'm just taking a really long time to do it because I'm trying everything as I'm going through it. And even so far as to go back to school to get a degree in social work to see, how's that going to play into everything. Um, but the bottom line is you have to keep trying things, right? So let's take this down a notch from like a whole career perspective and talk about how, okay, let's say you want to manifest a new car. Okay, so um, you could try to manifest just a new car, right? And you put whatever car you want on your vision board, and maybe you don't really have a picture of the exact car that you want. And the universe decides to have a sense of humor and delivers you a Matchbox car. Because the universe will deliver exactly everything you want. But if you want it in a specific way, you got to ask that way, right? So you don't want a Matchbox car. So, okay, so we'll cross that off the list. You don't want a truck. Cross that off the list. Do you want to be able to go camping? Do you need four-wheel drive? Do you want an SUV, or would you rather have a car? Do you want to be able to take a bunch of people with you, or do you want to go alone? Do you want to be able to trail or to haul a trailer or potentially a boat in the future? Do you need tow capabilities? So do you need a tow hitch? So all these questions you got to ask yourself. Well, you know what you don't want. Okay, well, I don't want to take it camping. Okay, so then we can probably get rid of the four-wheel drive part. Okay, no, I'm not ever going to tow a boat or whatever. If I do, I'll buy a new car anyway. Okay, fine. So you're looking for potentially like luxury and comfort as opposed to utility. So you start to narrow these things down as you ask yourself these questions. And then now you have a picture of the car that gets a little more specific. So for just the short time that we've been talking about a car, I guess the idea that I have in my head is like a red Camaro. Maybe that resonates with some of you guys. Maybe somebody else wants a white Mercedes. Maybe white's not your color. Maybe you want blue. All of these kind of things play into deciding what to put on your vision board. So you don't just think, I'm going to put a car on my vision board. Really, really think about how many cars have you had in the past? Which ones did you like? Which ones didn't you like? What can you pull from your history to decide what it is you truly want? You can use the same kind of idea process when you're thinking about what you want to manifest in the way of careers, when you're trying to find your passion. So that time I was telling you about during COVID, when I was trying to figure out my passion, there's a few different tricks that people use that we'll talk about in the class when we have the class. There's some questions you can ask yourself, but the bottom line thing is, what did you want to be when you were little, when you grew up? Because there's the starting point right there. What games did you play when you were little? I used to play with my sister all the time, and we would play teacher and student, right? So for a long time, I thought I wanted to be a teacher, which helped me narrow it down. Now, I didn't want to be a traditional academic teacher, but again, the universe is very general with how it delivers. And here I am teaching a vision board class. So there's that. Universe will deliver to you things in not the box that you expect, and very seldom will deliver it in the box that you expect. So again, when I manifest wanting to be a teacher, I have to be very specific about what kind of teacher I want to be. I want to teach people how to be authentic. I want to teach people how to manifest their dreams. I want to teach people how to use this energy that's called the law of attraction. That's still a teacher, but not the teacher I thought I wanted to be when I was little, if that makes sense. So you have to pull from all your different resources, all your past, all your dreams that you've had in the past, things that have just kind of gnawed at you over and over again throughout your life, and really take the time to sit down and think about what it is you truly want. And again, if you can't figure that part out, talk about what you don't want. Talk about relationships. Make a list of your deal breakers. I will not have cheating in my relationship. I will not have dishonesty. I will not have disrespect. I will not have domestic violence. You can list all the things that you don't want, but then when you're putting them on your vision board, you got to flip them into the positive, because the universe doesn't understand negatives. So you can figure out what you want from the negatives, but then you got to flip it into a positive. And I don't mean positive like good. I just mean positive as in, this is what I do want, not what I don't want. So that's my little 2 cents for today. I know it's a short video, but it was a lot of information in there. So I'm going to give you guys some time to digest that, and we'll be back next week. Hope you guys have a good one.